So you can check out that Empire Files episode on the Tell Us Your English website. But we're joined by Abby now, live on the show, to take a deeper dive into Ahed's story. Abby, thank you so much for being with us. What a great series of interviews with the Tamimi family.
Thank you so much for having me.
Although there's been a lot of international reporting on Ahed's story, there seems to be a lot missing. What context can you give our viewers on her case?
Well, of course, every time the mainstream media talks about Palestine-Israel, there's a huge swell of missing context to the situation. Of course, other than the clip that we just saw, where her 15-year-old cousin Mohammed was shot literally moments before this incident that you see on the viral video happened, there's a huge missing context here, right? The biggest question is, why were the soldiers there? The media is painting it as maybe, similarly to a police officer just patrolling around a neighborhood and a kid aggressively attacking them. Well, here's the real situation. This village, Nabi Saleh, I went there. It's horrifying. I mean, it is being flanked by huge settlements that are illegal. It is under illegal Israeli military occupation. It is under Israeli military law. Under this law, you cannot hold a flag. You cannot be in groups of 10 people. Political organizing is illegal. Political parties are illegal. So we're talking about a family so steadfast in their resistance that they were even fighting the British colonial occupation. This is a family who, her mom was almost permanently handicapped from a bullet from Israeli forces. Her father tortured in prison, almost lost his life. Several cousins have been shot and killed. They are trying to ethnically cleanse the village. There are settlers there who are armed militia who constantly shoot, harass, throw rocks at these villagers. This is a flashpoint of the resistance of Palestinian resistance. I mean, this is where the fight is happening. This village is known for their struggle for years and years. They have weekly demonstrations to fight the colonial occupation that is trying to ethnically cleanse Palestinians from their land. I mean, her father Bassem told me that their home has been raided over 200 times. Just think about what that life is like for a child.
I can imagine, but Abby, you just spoke about it being surrounded by illegal settlements. Israel has just approved over 1,000 new illegal settlements in the West Bank. Is the two-state solution dead and buried? And if so, how has this fight changed, and what are the hopes and demands for the future?
Well, I think when the Oslo Accords happened, there was hope for a two-state solution, and that was really something that was a possibility a long time ago. Unfortunately, Israelis and Israel in general, the Israeli government, has not taken that seriously. In fact, no one in Israel really talks about a two-state solution at all. That's mostly something coming from the American side. I think Palestinians living in the West Bank know very clearly that there's no hope for a two-state solution, because literally if you just drive around the area, which we did, there's just littered with illegal settlements and also an apartheid wall that really knifes through this land that would have been the Palestinian state. At the bottom line, there is no land to make a state. There's just pockets of illegal settlements that have taken over, as you said, 1,000 more. On top of that, the wall that snakes through the land that just has partitioned families that were together for generations. So there is no possibility for a state. There's no land for a state. We need to listen to what Palestinians say, not Israelis, because at the end of the day, it doesn't matter what Israelis say. What Palestinians are looking for and asking for Americans to help them with is a BDS, boycott, divestment, sanctions, so we can pressure the Israeli government similarly to the South African apartheid state, because Israelis who are racist are not going to wake up one day and say, hey, we don't want to be colonial occupiers anymore. It needs to come from the outside.
And let's focus back on to Ahed or children like her. Any Palestinian child can be detained for 20 years for throwing rocks. And Israel has also just made it easier to enforce the death penalty for acts they deem as terrorism. Every year, hundreds of children are detained by Israeli forces and face physical and psychological abuse. Why do you think Ahed in particular has become the face of the new wave of resistance?
I think it goes back to that flashpoint of Nabi Saleh. I mean, again, she is no stranger to the spotlight. This little girl has been in 2 more viral videos. I mean, every week these soldiers are coming and harassing her, so you can imagine how many confrontations have happened. And of course, 2 have become viral on video, where she was trying to fight soldiers off of her brother and her mother. She's one of 700 children who will be processed in this way through Israeli military courts every year. We're talking about torture, sexual humiliation, abuse, and of course, administrative detention, which could really keep these people 6 months at a time with no charges. I wanted to mention one thing really quickly, which is she's being charged under Israeli military law, but it's very important to understand the situation under international law, which is you can fight and you can resist illegal occupation. What she did is actually legal under international law. So again, we're talking about an old colonial holdover from British occupying forces that for some reason is still staying true today. But under the international law, she could have shot the soldier and it actually would have been legal.
That's really interesting. Abby, obviously we could talk to you more about this brilliant interview that you have with Ahed Tamimi, but we can't because we've run out of time. But I'm going to invite my viewers to go to the Tell Us Your English website. We have the entire Empire Files interview on our website with that interview with Ahed Tamimi and her family about their experiences in the Gaza. Thank you, Abby, for joining us.
Thanks so much.